Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining this informative session of the CaixaImpulse Innovation Program 2024. Let me start by first introducing my colleagues, Jordi Vallès and Jorge Garcia, and myself, Alex Esteban. So the three of us will be participating throughout the entire session. I will start now with the presentation, but before that, before getting into the content of the sessions, we would like to share some instructions on the development of the session. After the presentation, a Q&A session will begin, so that you can propose or make any question that you consider. To be able to ask a question, please remember that you have to click on the raise hand icon on the menu at the bottom of your screen. Remember that you will get an invitation when it's your turn, and you need to accept that invitation. Make sure also to display your name and last name at all times, because the moderator will call you by your name. So this is very important. Once you're given the chance, the opportunity to ask a question, please connect your microphone and camera to ask the question. Also, please pay attention to the presentation and other questions, so we don't have to repeat answers, and we make the session very efficient with that regard. If you have technical issues, please use the chat tool of the platform. Also remember that you can always send questions to the email address of the program office, which is displayed at the bottom of this slide. You're also invited to access our website, where you have all the detailed information of the program. You have manuals, you have the rules for participation, you have different types of documents, a section of frequent asked questions, and you can find a tutorial video for submission with instructions step by step of the submission process of your proposal. Now we'll start with the presentation. The CaixaImpulse Health Innovation Program was launched for the first time in 2015. So it's been running for almost 10 years now. This is the 10th edition. As a result of this impact that's been having during all these previous years, we have been provided support to around 200 projects. We have been supporting these projects with grants with a maximum amount of around 20 million euros. Besides the financial support, we have also provided non-financial support with training, mentorship, and expert advice. And we have invested a great amount of hours in that specific accompaniment side of the program. 42 out of 200 projects have incorporated spin-offs that you can see on this slide. We'd like to remember at this point that incorporating a spin-off is not the goal of the program. So what we are seeking is to help you valorize and develop your assets so that you can bring them closer to the market, regardless of the business model that you choose. And these 42 spin-offs, they have been able to raise more than 100 million euros so far. So we are at this point where they have raised more money in additional funding from other private investors or from other competitive calls. And it's way above the 20 million euros that we have invested in them once they have been participating in the program. These companies, these 42 companies, they have been incorporated since 2015, since the first year of the program. They come from Spain and Portugal, because we'd like to remind you that the scope of the program is Spain and Portugal. And these projects, they are included in different business areas, which are the business areas that are eligible to the program, which are therapeutics, diagnostics, medical devices, and digital health. The program has tried to give support to projects on different stages of development. As you can see here, this is the value of debt graph that you may be familiarized with. On the left-hand side, you have all those research projects that are in the academic or research environment that have access to public funding. And on the right-hand side, you have projects or companies that are getting closer to commercialization and to the market. In between, you can find this complex itinerary where many projects fail and fall because of the lack of support. Well, with CaixaImpulse, we try to give support from very early stages, as you can see here with the stage 1. So we start providing support to projects still in the academic or research environment. And we keep providing the support along different stages of development throughout this tech transfer pipeline until these projects have assets that are mature enough to raise additional funding from private investors, companies, or they are able to start collaborations with prospective licensees. We don't do this by ourselves. We have as collaborators Caixa Capital Risk, which is the venture capital firm of La Caixa. They participate in the evaluation of proposals, in the mentorship and consultancy of services that we offer to proposals, and they're also part of the lecturers that participate in the training program of CaixaImpulse. The program is structured, as you saw on the previous slide, in 3 stages. This is very important because participants or prospective participants, they have to choose the specific stage that they want to apply for. So for example, if you're applying to stage 1, it's to generate proof of concept and start designing your intellectual property strategy. Stage 2 is more for validation and development and even prototype design. And stage 3 is for more advanced and mature projects that are seeking to design, to work on the regulatory roadmap, work on strategies for financial viability, and start designing and working on their business model or business plan. Regardless of the stage, all projects or candidates, they undergo the same evaluation process. It's a 2-step evaluation process. We'll talk about that a bit later. So it's a single entry. And each stage comprises 2 years. And there's a maximum amount of funding that you can receive for each of these stages. For stage 1, you can receive a maximum amount of 50,000 euros. For stage 2, you can receive a maximum amount of 150,000 euros. And for stage 3, you can receive a maximum amount of 500,000 euros. What is important to highlight at this point is that there's an internal pipeline. So if you access stage 1 or stage 2 and you achieve your specific development milestones, you have the chance in the future to move on to later stages. So you can move from stage 1 to stage 2, and you can move from stage 2 to stage 3. Considering this, you can get a maximum financial amount of 700,000 euros for your project if you start from stage 1. Besides the financial support, as we were saying at the beginning, you also have non-financial support. Actually, there's a training program which is compulsory for project leaders in stage 2. And we also offer mentoring and consultancy services for all the projects. As we were saying before, you have this specific maximum amount of money that you can apply for each stage, so 50,000, 150,000, and 500,000 euros for a total of 700,000 euros if you go along throughout the entire pipeline, this internal pipeline. Once you are in the program, you have to consider very important points, which are first, that La Caixa Foundation is entitled to ask for the return of the grant in the future. If your project becomes a success case and you start having revenues coming from the exploitation of the asset, for example, you are commercializing the asset, you have some dividends from the participations in a company, or you have some royalties from a license agreement, that's not a loan, so it's only the specific amount that was granted, awarded to you, the program, and it only applies to stages 2 and 3 projects. At the same time, if you incorporate a spin-off, our colleagues, Caixa Capital Risk, they are entitled to ask for 1% of the shares of equity of the company that is incorporated. As you can see here, there's also a payment schedule for each stage. So basically, once we sign the project agreement with your institution, you receive a first payment, a first percentage of the total payment of the grant. Can be between 40 and 20% of the grant. And then the rest of payments are distributed depending on the achievement of a specific milestone. For example, in stage 2, one of the milestones is the attendance of the training program, which is compulsory for project leaders, and also the preparation and the submission of a valorization plan. For the rest of the stages, it depends on the interim meetings and the follow-up meetings that you're having with your assigned project manager at the Caixa Foundation and the fulfillment of the specific milestones of your proposal and your development plan. Sorry. Besides the financial support, you have also the possibility to access to non-financial support, which is divided into 3 or 4 main pillars. The first one is the training program. This training program is divided in 4 weeks, distributed as 1 week per month. So it's 1 in September, 1 in October, 1 in November, 1 in December each year. And they take place between Madrid and Barcelona. As we were saying before, it's compulsory to stage 2 projects, to project leaders leading those projects in stage 2, but it's optional, some of those sessions also, to projects in stages 1 and 3. In any case, please remember that there's a travel allowance to cover for all the travel expenses to attend these face-to-face sessions in the training program. Okay, so the travel allowance is on top of the awarded grant that it's granted to your project. There's also a mentoring program. So we have a pool of 20 mentors that are renowned experts from the European ecosystem, coming from the different business areas and different scientific fields to cover all the different projects in the program. So we try to assign one mentor to your project that has the same expertise and the same background, that can help you with the specific needs that you may encounter throughout your participation in the program. You have also access to a pool of more than 300 experts in many different topics and areas. For example, intellectual property, regulatory, business development, medical writing, and so on. And basically, you can access them at any moment during the 2 years that you are participating in each phase or each stage of the program. Of course, besides the training program, the mentoring, and the expert advice services that we offer to our projects, there you will become also part of our networking with more than 1,000 members from the Caixa research community, where you will be able to participate and you will be invited to many different activities to promote collaborations and synergies among different researchers and entrepreneurs. I'm going to stop here, and now I'm going to give the floor to my colleague Jordi Vallès, who will be talking about the submission and the evaluation process. So please, Jordi, when you're ready.
Thank you, Alex. So in the following slides, we are going to highlight key aspects for the preparation of your proposal that are also important during the process of submission. But we strongly recommend you to follow the tutorial video for submission that has been mentioned in the beginning of the preparation, when you will find step-by-step instructions of the whole process. One of the most important thing is the applicant institutions that can apply to our call, that, as you certainly know, are non-for-profit institutions from Spain and Portugal that owns assets from biomedical research. The minimum amount of ownership they have to get on these assets is the 50%. It means that altogether the different institutions that are non-for-profit institutions owing this asset has at least the 50% of ownership. The institutions that has been participating in previous editions of our innovation call, meaning Validate, they can also participate. The same that if you have been participating in other entrepreneurship programs. You can participate as a single institution or also as a consortia. This consortia has to be led by centers from Spain and Portugal, but institutions from other parts in the world can also participate. The only restriction is that these institutions from other countries than Spain and Portugal can only allocate a maximum of 30% of the budget in the proposal. As I've been mentioning, is the call is only open for non-for-profit institution, but you can incorporate an spin-off within the framework of the program. So if at a certain point of maturity of your project within the program, you end up with an spin-off, this company can allocate and use the funding for the development of the project. Other spin-offs that has been incorporated before the participation are not eligible. Next, please. Okay, thank you. So this is an important slide. So I will highlight it with details. So the institution and roles is something that can be a problem for you. So it's important that you take this information with highly importance and that you work on this issue with enough time. All proposals need to have obviously an applicant institution. This applicant institution is represented by an organization manager that is going to authorize the submission of the proposal that the project leader opens and submits. So we have here for each institution a scientist that is the project leader normally, an organization manager that is legally representing the institution and that will need to be validated by us. So for each institution participating in the proposal, we need that the institution is in our system with an authorized organization manager. It can happen that you are participating as a consortium with a maximum of 5 total members. So is the host institution and 4 additional institutions that all of them need to be invited by the investigator. In this case, we don't need the endorsement of the other institutions by means of an organization manager, only that the investigator that is representing the institution declare that the institution is aware of the participation. So at this point, you will need to use this invitation module we have in our platform. That it means that you need to send a specific invitation to each of the partners of the project, and they will need to accept it. And when is an organization manager, we will additionally legally revise the profile of this representative. So for that reason, we really need you to do it in advance. Additionally to this, that is the people working on the project, we have also the owners of the asset. It happens that normally, especially in stages 2 and 3, you have assets that are owned by more than one institution. For example, a patent that is co-owned for 2 or 3 institutions. In this regard, we need to know that all the co-owners of the asset are aware of the participation of this asset within a project in our program. For that reason, we are also asking that an organization manager from the institutions that owns this asset accepts the participation, so endorse the participation of the asset in the proposal. So we will have 2 different profiles: the scientists that are partners of the project and the key owners of the asset that are normally legal representative from institutions that are the owners of the asset. We will need to have all these acceptances in place before you are able to submit your proposal. So please bear in mind that this requires enough time. So don't wait to the last minute, please. Next. Thank you, Alex. So you will be able to submit all the proposals through our platform that you can find in this website. And as Alex was telling you, is a modular form that is asking more and more information depending on the stage you are presenting your proposal. So an important point here is to select if you are going to submit for stage 1, 2, and 3. And in the following slide, please, there's our guide for you to decide. So it is a self-assessment that we are asking you to do. We normally receive some questions on that, but please just please go and check all the information that we provide in this guide that will help you to decide if your project is mature enough to go to stage 1, 2, and 3. Next, please. Another important issue here that is really important for you to notice is that you need to select a business area. So you will need to decide if your proposal is a therapeutic, a digital health, a medtech, or diagnostic proposal, and also the scientific area and sub-areas. It's mandatory to select at least one scientific area and from 2 to 4 sub-areas of this scientific area. This is really important because we are using this information to match your proposal with the reviewers that will be scoring your proposal. So please take this step with the importance that it requires. Next, please. So this is a selection process. As Alex was mentioning, there's a single entry for all the proposals going to the different stages. And we will be assigning the evaluators for the pre-selection based on these keywords that you provide in the business area and the scientific area. So we are using an algorithm that is artificial intelligence based that helps us to have this blind assignment on your proposals. You will be evaluated by 3 independent experts that will provide a numeric score. This score will be normalized, and in case of this significant discrepancies, that will be solved adding a 4th evaluator. Our evaluators in the process are coming from Spain, Portugal, and international experts. And we have a minimum of 40% of women in this panel of experts. Those projects that are having a higher score in this pre-selection are selected to go to the final step of the selection. This is a face-to-face interview here in Barcelona. That is composed by 6 different panels. These evaluation committees that are composed by from 4 to 5 experts, from 4 to 8 experts. Sorry, it's 6 panels because we will have 2 different panels. One is based on therapeutics, and the other one in medtech and diagnostics. For each of the stages. So it will be 2 for stage 1, 2 for stage 2, and 2 for stage 3. These experts in the panel will provide a qualitative score, a go-no-go situation, and also a report on their assessment. The composition of the members of the panel resembles the composition of our members in the pre-selection process that are Spanish and Portuguese and international experts, and with a minimum of 40% of evaluators. What are the selection criteria? So the selection criteria are a normal criteria. So we will be asking you for the asset, so the science and the quality of the science and the novelty that is behind your proposal, the need that this asset is covering, the team that is able to develop this proposal regarding the implementation plan. So we will need to have in place the activities and the timing that you are planning to do, and at the end the business case and the social impact. This different selection criteria has different weights depending on the stage you are applying, and also you will need to provide a different amount of information depending on the stage you are applying. Just as an example, if you are going to stage 1, the weight is more focused in the asset and the need. So we will be asking you for the science and the need that will be covered, and there will be less information and less weight on the selection criteria on the business case. Next, please. So we will be just ending this presentation with the calendar. You probably know that this call is open until the 22 of February. It will be closing at 2 o'clock Central European time. So this is important because we have here potential projects coming from different parts in Spain and Portugal that are in different time frames. So please, it's 2 Central European time. We will be preselecting the projects during the spring, and we have these panel interviews in the 27th and 28th of June. Those of you that are selected will be communicated as soon as possible in July, and the training program that applies for these projects in stage 2, but is optional for projects in 1 and 3, will take place during September, October, November, and December. So as you know, the mentoring program of the expert advice can be provided during these 2 years of execution. That is the maximum. So we hope some of you being able to participate in this training and to receive this important support. So I will be stopping here. So just for you to remind that you can find additional information and the tutorial video in our website, that you can find it here. And now we will be wide open for questions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Alex and Jordi, for the presentation. So now we are going to the question and answer session. Just a quick reminder on how to ask questions in the session. So you first have to raise your hand in the bottom part of this Zoom session. After this, you will have or you will receive an invitation to be upgraded as panelist, because in order to talk, you have to be upgraded to panelist. You have to accept this invitation. And after accepting this invitation, I will call you by your name. So once you hear your name, you can open your mic and your camera, and you can shoot your question to the members of the office. So I think that we can begin with our first questions. For instance, I'm looking, this is problems of the live session that we have no raised hands here. So I think that we can begin with Katia Figueiredo. Katia, are you here? Katia Figueiredo, do you hear me? Can you ask your question?
Okay. Jump to
So since that Katia is not here, so we go to Carlos. Carlos, please ask your question.
Oh, hello, I will try to engage my video. Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to ask just what is the the rate of submitted proposals and granted proposals. I mean, what is the percentage of success?
So this is just data from the first edition, because this structure of the program is new from the last edition. But the overall rate is around 10%, but is quite different from stage 1, 2, and 3. So in stage 1 is slowly below 10%, so between 8 and 9%. Stage 2 is a little bit above this 10%, so around 12, and stage 3 is 10 in the 10%. But this is just N1, so we will see what happens in this edition.
So thank you, Jordi.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi. Just a little detail. After you have been upgraded to panelists, please raise your hand again, because we are losing some raised hands. So raise your hand again once you are upgraded to panelist. So thank you for your question. We are going to Monica. So Monica, you can talk now.
Hi, good morning. And thank you for the presentation, very clear. My question is, how do I decide whether my project is more appropriate for stage 1 or stage 2? What's the criteria? I wonder if you can give us some examples or clarify the criteria. Thank you.
So you have some specific information, very detailed information, the rules for participation and the guide for evaluation as well. So basically, the main goals they are what we stated before. So basically, for stage 1 is you have an idea, you have some preliminary results, and you want to design and execute a proof of concept validation in the program. So you would like us to help you design and provide you with the resources to do that. Once you have that, you can access stage 2, where you have the proof of concept validation, but then you want to have like some further validation of those results. Maybe work on your IP strategy, maybe file a patent or file any kind of a vehicle to protect your technology or your asset, or even work on some kind of prototype if you're working on a technology. Even because as we mentioned before, if you participate in stage 2, you have to participate in attend the training program. So even preparing a valorization plan, which is the main goal of the final goal of the training program. So those are the main goals of stage 2. And for stage 3, we're thinking more about projects that they're more mature. They are working on a business plan. They have very, very clear the idea of the business model that they want to use to commercialize or to reach the market and commercialize that asset. They want to work maybe on the regulatory roadmap to work with regulatory agencies and get their approval to try to reach commercialization. You know the markets, you have a competitor's landscape very clear in mind. So as Jordi was saying before, once you access the application form, you have this self-assessment tool where you have like different bullet points, and you can see if you fulfill some of them or most of them, and that can give you some clear information on where to apply for. But besides that, also please remember that each form is different. So for example, for stage 1, as Jordi was already saying, stage 1 is more focused on the scientific part, the scientific rationale of your asset. So you will have a few questions about the results that led you to this stage, what you want to do in the program, the expertise and experience of the team members and the project leader and so on, things like that, and the impact that may have in society, that asset once it's the market. But then for stage 2, you have those questions, but then some more additional questions about the experience in innovation of the project leader. You have some questions about a value proposition. You must have a value proposition in mind. So you must have that information to be able to complete that form. Or about how your asset is attractive to the market, the future. What's a niche that you are like seeking? And then the stage 3, you even have more questions. You have those questions from stage 1 and stage 2, and you have some more additional questions about a risk analysis, about this competitor landscape that you need to work to prepare your business plan and things like that. Very specialized on the dimension linked to the business side of the project.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. So we move now to Alberto Jardón. Alberto. Alberto, we don't hear you.
No.
Now? Okay, try again. If not, we can move to another person and then we go back to you. No, we are not hearing you, so we are going back to you. So raise your hand again and we will try to solve this. So we pass to Laura Lizama. Laura, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Well, our project was granted with Validate, CaixaImpulse Validate, and then we incorporated the spin-off, and we want to present now the project to stage 3. And I was wondering about like the block of team. So how should we like structure team members? Are team members that are working on the activities granted by La Caixa, or are these team members the ones that are, I don't know, going to go to like to spin-off and to like commercialize the asset like in a more in a future vision of the company?
Thank you, Laura. We will prefer to talk with you specifically about your project, but
Okay.
in general, if you have incorporated your spin-off before you are presenting this proposal, you would be potentially not eligible. Okay. So it would be, if you have more information, because we need to check the timing of this incorporation and the license agreement that could be in place, we can discuss it personally. But in general, if the spin-off is already in place, sadly you cannot be eligible.
Yeah,
So,
but
Alex,
the license
if-
agreement
if I
is not
may-
in place.
If
Yeah.
I may, I know this project because I know it from Validate, so they haven't
Okay.
transferred the asset to the company yet.
okay.
That's the thing. We want stage 3 to transfer the asset, like to make it valuable and transfer it.
Okay, but for that reason, I would say that it's important to know the specific situation, because the transfer of the asset is an important point to consider the company and its spin-off. So if you agree, it would be better if you just send us an email, or we have a specific call to discuss your case.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you, Laura. So we go back to Alberto Jardón. Let's see if now we can hear him. Alberto?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There was a problem with the selection of the micro. So I have a question regarding stage 2. I think that a key point and a strong issue of this program is this training program. If we get successful in our proposal, it's supposed that we have to pass this training. But my question is, who has to pass the IP? Some of them research member. How many people of my team will be able to attend to this training program?
So it's compulsory for the project leader of the project. The project leader doesn't have to be the group leader of your research group. So when we get this question quite often, actually. So what we try to convince candidates is that what we need is someone who is appointed as project leader, who has the commitment and the availability to be able to attend the activities organized in the framework of the program, and also many other actions, like for example, preparing reports and so on. It's true that we are very flexible, so it's compulsory for project leaders, but if the project leader cannot attend some of the training sessions 1 week, it's okay, it's fine. So actually, the project leader can come along with some other members, a maximum of 3 members per project, from the institution, from the research group, collaborators, and so on, to the training program. And if the project leader is not in one of those sessions, it's fine. The only thing we ask for is that at least there's one person, a representative from the project, there to defend the project and to participate in the activities that are organized in that framework. Okay, if one group leader has many commitments and a very full agenda, and that person thinks that is unable to attend all these activities, our suggestion is to appoint someone else from the group with enough knowledge and seniority of the and knowledge about the project and the asset that you are presenting in the program, and that person be the one attending the activities and leading the proposal in the framework on the program, even if that person is not the group leader of the research group. Yeah, one thing that it's important to highlight as well is that the training program is 4 weeks, but we try to condense everything in maximum 3-4 days per week, from 9 to maybe 3:30. So it's not 4 entire weeks. So we try to condense that, and it's a hybrid system where we have some very interactive face-to-face sessions in Barcelona and Madrid to apply the things, the aspects of your project to reality, and then we have some other resources that are online that you can watch from your office or from home, and learn some concepts from the distance as well. So we try to make that equilibrium, that balance as well.
So it's suppose that I can teach my team, because the idea was to create a spin-off. If we success stage 2 and stage 3, so that my team will be younger than me, and they will be the chief of the enterprise, and I will act as a scientific supervisor. So that was my concern. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Alberto. So we go to Gia Lian Sung Wan. So Gia, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for this session. I have a sort of a similar question as Alberto. So my PI, my group leader, for example, he's already in one of the La Caixa projects. And my question is, can the group leader be in multiple CaixaImpulse projects?
Yes, the group leader can be in multiple. I don't know if this is an innovation or a health project, but they can be in multiple ones, but not as a project leader. So if he or she is a project leader in another project in innovation, he cannot be another time. But if he's in health, there's no problem at all to be project leader in both. The point is that, well, the point mentioned by Alex previously is important. So we are not only looking for project leaders that are the experts on the science, but also that has this commitment and availability to push the project onwards.
So he could act like as a senior scientist, for example.
For example, yeah, I would say that probably is the most common situation in our program.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Gia. So we go with Juan Carlos Gabaldon. Juan Carlos.
Hello. Thank you. Yes, I had 3 questions. The first one is I've been going through the application form, and I came across a section where support letters are required. So these support letters should be from experts on the field that endorse the project, or what's the specific objective of the support letters here?
So this is an optional part of the form. It's not compulsory, and the idea is to add more value the information that you're providing to reviewers. So if you're endorsed by, for example, collaborators, companies that maybe you have been working with, or some other experts or key opinion leaders in this field, that helps a lot also. That gives a lot of value when the evaluators are scoring your proposal.
Perfect, thank you. My second question was regarding the asset section of the proposal, because there's also a section asking for publications, like the 5 most important publications. So my question here is, are those publications related to the asset itself, or are like the project leader's most important publications, because in our case, we're applying for a stage 1 proposal. So we have some preliminary data, but it has not been published yet. So I'm not really sure how would we approach that.
So again, it's not compulsory. So the publication section, and so it's a bit different from, for example, research calls, where the publications has a lot of weight on the scoring of on the review of the projects. Here, it's just to add some complementary information in case it's helpful for reviewers to understand a little bit better the asset that you're presenting and the background that led you to this specific point to present the asset to the program. So what we suggest is that you have publications where you can add more information than the one that you are providing us with in the specific sections of the form. And you have, for example, some specific developments or things that could complement that information, then our suggestion is that you include those papers. But of course, they have to be papers around the asset coming from your research group.
Perfect, thank you. And let me check. Oh yeah, my last question was, I understand that the consortium members should be Spanish or Portuguese, and that there's a limit of the budget that can be allocated to each consortium member. But is there a limit to the budget that can be like outsourced to a company to run some specific experiments? Like, for instance, we're planning to, like, a big part of our proposal relies on mass spectrometry data that needs to be outsourced to a company that does that. So is there a limit on the budget that could be outsourced to this company?
The question is no, but going back to what you just said, there's no limit of partners or financing that those partners can get from the grant awarded to the project. So basically, you have Portuguese and Spanish partners. Of course, they are eligible. They are no-profit institutions. They can get as much financing as it's convenient for your project. So there's no limitation there. The only limitation is if those partners are from outside Spain and Portugal, so from other countries, from abroad. In that case, there's a limitation of 30% of the total grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
But for activities like outsourcing services, consultancy, and so on, there's no limitation as long as it's properly justified in the proposal. So that's not a limitation.
Perfect. Okay. Those were my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Juan Carlos. So just a reminder, remind to raise your hand once you enter in the panelist section. So raise your hand again because we are losing some recent hands. So we go now to Meritxell Pons.
Hi. So maybe you answered before. So just to be sure, so a single PI can do 2 applications now. So one at stage 1 and another one at stage 2 with different proposals.
They cannot be selected as the same project leader, but they can be member of the team in different projects, but they cannot be selected as project leader in 2 proposals. So we would advise to make different structure on this.
Okay, and the second question, so if we have a patent that is submitted but still not, let's say, accepted, this adds a value or not at all? So the patent needs to be already like accepted and so on, or just if we have the draft and submit it, it's enough?
So it depends on the state you are applying, and what
Stage
we are
2.
really asking here is to have an IP strategy, and sometimes having an already granted patent is a good value, certainly. Sometimes can be dangerous for the project if you are in stage 1, because then you really need a lot of money to pay for these national phases. So the point is that you can convince the reviewers that you have a strategy not to protect the asset you have now, but also to reach the market in appropriate time to exploit it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Meritxell. So now is the turn for Cristina Muñoz. Cristina.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question regarding the training program. I understand that it's not mandatory for the project leader to assist. He can delegate another person with enough knowledge of the project, but it is mandatory for this person to attend in person, or it could be possible to perform the training program online.
So actually, it is mandatory for the project leader. So we expect the project leader to attend the entire program, but we are quite flexible because we understand these busy agendas that some group leaders may have, some decisions. And we can accept for some specific sessions that the person appoints someone to come on their behalf. So that's totally fine. But we expect the project leader to come at least to most of them. So the other question was
it is possible to
yes.
perform the training program
Yes.
online.
So for the face-to-face sessions, we need at least one person per project, face-to-face, so in person there, in the during the training session. So it's true that we have these online resources that you can watch beforehand, and there are some important concepts that then are discussed later on in the face-to-face sessions, and you can do that at any time. They are just uploaded to one of the platforms that we use. But for the face-to-face sessions, we always need one person from each project. We prefer the project leader, so we try to encourage project leaders to come to all of us, to all of our sessions. But if that's not possible and the project leader cannot come to any of those sessions or to one of those sessions or a few of them, then we encourage to have someone from the team. But yes, it has to be face-to-face.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cristina. So now is Victor Cepero.
Hello, thank you for the conversation, for the presentation. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, I got a few questions. The first of all of them is about in which institution shall I apply? In my case, I'm having a contract with an institution, but I'm working in collaboration with a hospital and with IDIBELL, which is a research group from the hospital. So I saw that in the application you need to be affiliated to the association that is receiving the money. So in this case, I should apply even though the rest of the group participate in IDIBELL in the center I am contracted.
It also depends on who is the owner of the asset, if there's any asset that is owned. So I don't know which stage are you planning to apply. I guess is stage 1, or I don't know if you have an asset that is owned by any of these institutions.
We're planning to apply for stage 2 because our idea is more about a software or a tool that still is not developed, but we are planning to develop it sooner.
So I would say that the project leader has to be linked to the host institution in terms of a contract, but it's not extremely necessary to have this contract situation. So it have to be a professional link. What is best in the situation? So because I also understand that in this case that I think that is the hospital and IDIBELL, there's also agreements between them to represent the institution in terms of research and innovation. So sometimes it can be done different ways. But the point is that if you are linked to an institution, it would be better that both institutions that can participate can be a consortium, for instance, or you can choose the one that will be receiving the money, certainly. But again, if there's an asset that has been developed in one of the institutions, it's the best situation is that is this institution that is owner of the asset that has been developed until this point to participate in the program.
Okay. So I think that I talked with the research transfer department in the IDIBELL, and they told me that there is this possibility of doing a shared ownership. But the concern was basically about the application. But well, I don't want that it is a problem that at the application I put, for example, IDIBELL, but then it must be something as a consortium or something like this.
I mean, you are linked to which institution?
Centre de Visió per Computador, the CVC in Autónoma.
Okay, so normal situation would be that this would be the host institution, but you
Okay.
can build a consortium with institutions participating, and then you can allocate the budget regarding the needs of the project in relation to that. So it
Okay.
doesn't mean that you have to have the most of the budget in your institution, but it would be the most natural situation is that you are applying. But if you prefer to have a personal discussion about this situation, we can also have a specific call for that.
Okay. I also got another question. Is about the teams. When we are inserting the teams in the application, there is a part that it's also about how we're gonna distribute the funding. Here is where the how you say, the wages or the how it's gonna be shared among also the salaries of these team members as well, because some of the team members might be, for example, related to other projects that are exclusive and don't allow, for example, getting retribution for other projects.
So first of all, personnel is eligible, but is not mandatory to be included in this project. So if you really need to ask for personnel, you can do it. But if it's not necessary, you don't have to do it. So obviously, the people that can receive a part of budget from the personnel item has to be members of the team. Of any of the institutions participating in a consortium, if this is a consortium. So yeah, it has to be easy to identify that somebody participating in the proposal with a specific activity is receiving this part of the budget as personnel. I don't know if this is answering the question.
Well, yeah, more or less at the end, I guess. Thank you.
Well, really, I don't know. So you need to.
Well, I think that as is something that people that might be more or less involved right now at the moment, later on could be more or less involved. It will depend also.
Yeah, so this I would suggest just to write down the proposal as you are planning to do it now, because we are really flexible to change budget if there's something that is coming later on.
Okay.
So if you end up with any change that has to be done in the middle of the proposal because there's scientific changes or technical reasons to do so, we can change the distribution of the budget during the execution of the project. But your proposal has to be consistent in terms of budget and activities that are described.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much, Victor. So I'll ask you for a favor, just please make one question because we have a long waiting list for asking this question. So next one will be Ferran Lázaro.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the presentation. My question is very simple. We are thinking about applying for stage 3. And previously you mentioned that on stage 3, regulatory expenses can be eligible. My question is, what kind of expenses are eligible? Does it cover all expenses regarding the regulatory roadmap in order to overcome this roadmap? Thank you.
We are very flexible. Actually, the budget table is the same for all the 3 stages. And you can see that the items are very common. Basically, you have regulatory, but you have also legal advice, business advice, technical advice. If you need like by fungible for experiments, for experimental activities, or even to outsource CROs if you are doing any kind of validation with animal models or clinical trials and so on. So we are very, very flexible. The only limitation we have is that 30%, if you have partners from outside Spain and Portugal, so that's the maximum amount you can allocate for those partners. And there's also the possibility to include overheads, and that's an addition of 10% overheads for stage 2 and stage 3 that will go to your institution. Okay, but for the rest of the items, if you wanna like put like 90% of the grant for regulatory activities, if it's something properly justified and it makes sense, and the reviewers agree that that's what you can do in the program, we can help you with that, then that's totally fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
So,
So thank you, Ferran. We move to Iñaki Fernandez. Iñaki.
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Hello. Thank you for clarifying a lot of questions that I had before. And one question that remains, just to make it fast. So the limit of time is 2 years. I was wondering if we were to apply to stage 1 and to proceed through internal promotion to stage 2, as you described with evaluation, would that extend the 2 years, or does that need to be fit into the global 2 years?
So the answer is that you really don't need to reach these 2 years. You can ask for this progress to next stage at any point. But the evaluation of these proposals would be together with the panels of the selection. So we will have one panel per year. So we would suggest to have to ask to change or to progress in a stage before 1 year, or then wait for these 2 years of extension. So you will have one opportunity per year to change.
Okay, and so my question specifically was if I progress to stage 2, I start again the 2-year period. If I manage to progress to
yes. So one of
okay, so it could extend in the end.
One of
it could extend to up to 6 years in the end.
Yes. This is the point. Exactly. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Iñaki. So we move to Emma. Emma Irisis.
Hello. I know it's not mandatory, but my researchers would like to attend the training program. So my question is, do phase 1 projects have access to any kind of funding for this?
So for stage 1, as you know, it's optional. And for logistics reason, we only admit one person per project. That person, we suggest that it's a project leader, but if the project leader is not available or prefers that someone else from the project comes, we are very flexible with that, but it's only one person per project for stage 1 and 3. For stage 2 projects, is the project leader. It's compulsory for that person, but also that project leader can come along with 2 other members of the project.
And we can include these expenses in the budget or get some funding from
Yes. Actually,
okay.
if you decide, if you're in stage 1 and you decide to come to the face-to-face training sessions, there's a travel allowance for stage 1 and stage 3 projects. It's a travel allowance of 1,000 euros to cover for travel expenses.
Okay.
That's on top of your grant, so you don't need to take it from your grant. So if you want to come to some of the sessions, you're totally welcome to do it, and you can cover the travel expenses with that. And if you are a stage 2 project, you get a travel allowance of 4,000 euros to cover for all the traveling expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So now we are moving to Carmen Almanza. Carmen.
We cannot hear you, Carmen.
I think it's muted.
Yes, you are muted, Carmen.
Now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. So it's the first time we apply for this type of project, or we would apply, and we have some practical questions. One is regarding the references. So do you expect us to include many references in the different texts explaining the project? And if so, is there a place to put them, or how do we deal with this?
As it was mentioned before, you will see that there's a table to include 5 publications as a reference.
Yeah, only this.
Yeah, and these ones are only publications that are related to the asset or to the need of the asset or some specific issue on the development of the asset, just to support the project that is defined. We are not asking for references of the team that can be obtained for other means.
Okay. And then another question is for the advisors. So in the Annex 1 table for the budget, you indicate technical advice, business advice. Does this refer to the advice you are given, or is this another?
No, any item that is included in the budget is because you can contract or outsource this advice. We are providing this advice on top of the grant you are obtaining.
Okay, thank you. I have some others, but since only one is allowed.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
You can always email us and we will answer any question you have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. So we are moving now to Igrau.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mima Grau.
Good morning.
Okay, my question is, it's possible to resubmit a project that reached the interview phase in the previous edition, adjusting it?
Yes, you can, and there's no limitation. You can apply as many times as you need to, and you can actually.
In the same
We didn't
phase?
mention in the same phase, everything the same, with improvements that you.
Yes.
The only
Thank you
thing is
very
we didn't mention this, but actually after each step during the selection process, you get a feedback report with all the comments from the evaluator, so you can use that information also to improve the application for next applications or next editions. So, but you are totally entitled to do it. No problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Imma. We go with Alessandro Fantoni. Alessandro.
Yeah, good morning. This is Alessandro from the Polytechnic School of Lisbon. And I got a practical question because I see on the Portuguese website that there is some co-founding from the Fundação de Ciência e Tecnologia, but I don't understand exactly how it works. So it is included in is an additional founding. Can you please explain something about it?
Yes, we have to say that this is a situation that is being discussed now with FCT. It was closed in one of their calls that was make these proposals that has been co-found in our programs not eligible in the new FCT call. But we have been discussing with them, and we cannot say now that we are solving the situation, but we are working together with them to clarify the situation, and we hope we will be able to communicate the resolution of the situation in the following days.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Alessandro. So next one is Omer. Omer.
Good morning. Thank you to the three of you for a really interesting informative session. So my question is regarding the duration of the grant, the timeline. Is it possible to apply for a phase for less than 2 years duration? Putting it another way, let's suppose a project achieves its objectives or milestones in an year or maybe less than 2 years. So what would be the mode of operation or approach in that case?
So as we said before, so that each stage comprises 2 years, but that's a maximum amount of time. So you're totally free to apply for the amount of time that you need, it's required for your project to achieve the specific milestones that you're proposing. So for example, if you're applying to stage 1 and you think that you need only 1.5 years, that's all you can include in your proposal. And even if you apply for 2 years, and as we were saying before, and you think that you can achieve all those milestones, goals, before that specific deadline, and you want to apply for them to move on to the next stage, you can do that for those 2 years. So the landmark of 2 years, it's just something, it's a maximum, and all the other way around. So if you apply for 2 years, and then after that you realize that you need some more time, we are very flexible with that as well, and you can apply for extensions.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Thank you.
You can be in one stage for a few months or the time that you need, if it's properly justified, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Omer. So we are moving with Rebecca Copenol. Rebecca.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for having me. So my question is, I have a project in the university, which is now entering the national phases of IP protection. And the owner is the university, but I also have a spin-off company that has a license agreement with the university for the asset. Can I apply with the university as an applicant institution and the spin-off as a co-owner of assets?
No, if the asset is completely licensed to this spin-off, the owner of the exploitation rights is the spin-off, then the project would be not eligible in our rules for participation. Is a clear statement on that. So if it's clear that you have license agreement of the asset of this patent to the spin-off company, then the owner of the right for exploitation is the spin-off. So then the project is not eligible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. Next one will be Catarina Rosado. Catarina.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for the session. I would like to ask, when describing the team, are we allowed to use links to, for instance, science database, the indicators, or is this compromising the way? Because we have such a limitation of characters when describing our expertises. Is this a valid way of describing team members, including the project leader?
That's valid, but we suggest that you put as much information as you can, like typing everything in the specific text box. And also, please take into account that we don't ask about the research experience, research background of the team members of the project leader. It's more about the commitment, the experience on this specific type of development, specific type of projects, and also the complementarity of the different team members to try to achieve these objectives in the project. Not so much about what they have done before regarding like research objectives and so on. So we try to put as much text as possible and focus on these specific aspects.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Catarina. So next one will be Albino Martins. Albino.
So, good morning to everyone, and thank you for the presentation. So I have a question regarding the asset. Again, we had a lot of doubts about it, in fact. In our case, the asset includes some technology that is used abroad, our institution. So to get all the final product, we need to join some efforts on that sense. Considering that will be outsourced, that part of the technology will be outsourced, and maybe the outsourced company maybe have some intellectual property around the production of it. How we can secure our proposal in order to fill all the requirements.
Okay, so the point of the ownership of the asset is something that you have to evaluate at the moment of the presentation of your proposal. So if at this stage the asset you are describing in the proposal is completely owned by the institution, there's no problem. If there's a company that is co-owner of this asset at this point because it has been already collaborating with you, and in this outsourcing there's a change of ownership, it's mandatory that the institution has at least the 50% of the ownership of the asset. So these would be the two important points to know. If you have this situation now, but in the future you will be losing this ownership because during the development is something that it happens, we will be evaluating the situation in the future. But you have to explain the situation in the moment of the proposal. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah. Particularly, I don't know if I know that we don't have too much time, but in case the asset is from our institution, but the question is about part of it could be developed by SME, for example, okay, that is already on the market. But for other applications, so the novelty and is already established, is mainly established by our own IP.
Okay.
The problem is about the production of part of it. I mean.
Okay, Albino, as I see that this is a really specific situation in your case, I think it would be better if we have an individual discussion. Probably you can just send an email and we have this discussion with you about the situation. Do you agree?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Albino. Next is Esther. Esther.
Hi. Yes,
Hello.
thank you for your presentation. And my question is that can a person without any current working relationship with an institution be considered as an external advisor?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Actually, that's not a problem at all. You can have collaborators that are external to the institution, and they work as advisors to the project, and they can be included as team members. So if they have like a proper and very active involvement in the activities and the development of the project, they can be included and described as one member, an additional member in the team. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. We move to Carolina Herranz. Carolina.
Hi, can you hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, I have a potential not patentable asset, and I don't know if it could fit on this call or not.
Sorry, I didn't understand it. Is a potential not patentable or patentable?
Yeah, not patentable.
Well, we are asking for an IPR strategy. It doesn't mean that you need a patent. It means that you need a mean to protect your asset to make it to obtain exploitation on that. So it happens with softwares and it happens with platforms that are based on information or databases that you can keep an industrial secret, or you can describe any kind of intellectual property strategy. Indeed, when you are going to our form in the application, during the application, you will see that there's a list of different ways to protect your asset, and patent is just one of them.
Okay, and also if it's only research use, it is possible to apply for this program?
It's possible. It's possible. It has research use in the health ecosystem. So it's something that it has to be also highlighted in terms of the need that it's covering, and the potential impact on the society. But it's possible, and we have had some cases on that.
Okay, so you have to link this research to some need in the health environment, right?
Yeah, because it would be one of the criteria. So it would be the impact of this research tool on the
okay,
health.
because when I saw the business areas, I was not sure where to fit my asset. Because okay, fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carolina. Next is Neus. Neus.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is if a spin-off company created within the framework of La CaixaImpulse validation in the call of 2020 can be a partner of its public institution in a CaixaImpulse Stage 3 project.
So partners in consortia, they have to be non-profit institutions as well. So companies are not allowed. Companies can be included, for example, as collaborators. For example, if your institution with that spin-off, they are collaborating in the framework of the development of this project, that company can be included in the application as collaborator, but not as a partner.
Okay, so we can contribute as a collaborator,
Exactly.
although our spin-off is already created.
Exactly. So partners, they have to be following our rules for participation. They have to be non-profit institutions, and companies are not allowed, and they have to be non-profit institutions that receive money from the grant to develop activities. In that case, the company is not eligible, but can be a collaborator, and your institution, if the project gets selected, can outsource some services to the company. That's something that we can accept.
Okay.
But the company by itself cannot be a partner and receive directly money from the grant.
It will be a collaborator.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Neus. Next one is Nicolás Benítez. Nicolás.
Good morning. Thank you for the presentation. I have only one question. We are an investigation team, and we are in process of becoming a spin-off. But this takes some time, and I think it will reach May in March. So can we apply for stage 2, for example, and in the process, if we become as a spin-off, is that a drawback for you?
So at the moment of your proposal, a spin-off company cannot be incorporated. This is what strictly our rules for participation said, and you have to the institution that is applying to the call has to keep the ownership of the asset. So if this is the situation when you are applying, there's no problem of eligibility.
Okay, but once we are, for example, if we are like
if you incorporate within the program, then this spin-off can be considered a linked third party of the project and can be developing situations. But I mean, the creation of this company that it's normally regulated by agreement with your institution has not to be signed at the moment of your proposal, of your application.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nicolás. Monica, the floor is yours, Monica. I think that she left. She's not here. So Teresa Lloret. Teresa.
Yes. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So thank you very much for your explanation. I have just one doubt. If I well understood, Jordi, you mentioned that projects coming from spin-offs already created were not eligible. I have the following situation. We as an institution are not owners in principle of any patent, but we are about to start a collaboration with an institution that owns a patent that has already been licensed to a spin-off. Okay, but we would like to continue the development of this patent and maybe create some improvements or another products or further indication that will come up in a license to the same spin-off. So under this situation, if we sign somehow a collaboration agreement with this other institution, can we somehow participate as co-owners, as applicants, as what formula?
So,
did you understand me?
So yeah, no. The point here is how to analyze the situation of the patent in this sense. So we need to understand that the asset that is presented in our proposal is an independent one from the first that has been licensed. So if these are improvement that falls within the license agreement in the clause of improvements, and the patent would be clearly dependent of the first one, it would be potentially not eligible. But as these cases are something that has to be analyzed in detail, I would suggest, Teresa, that you just send us details on the situation, and we will let you know.
Okay, and then I would prefer to continue with you. Okay, will you provide us your emails at the end, or are they written anyway?
Well, it was at the beginning and in our website, but probably we can. I think you will find it. Yeah, it was at the beginning. Probably we can just share again the presentation with the emails if it's required at the end, or in the chat we can share our contact.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.
Okay, so next one is Lionel Gontard.
Hi. My question is, well, we have two assets. Both are related to the same problem, diagnosing neurodevelopment in neonates, but they are not directly linked. So my question is, it makes sense to make a stronger application combining both assets that are used for the same problem, or instead writing two different proposals. Particularly, we have software for processing neuroimages, and we have a novel type of sensors for monitoring the same patients. So
In this case, the assets are not related. They only share the same indication. You can work independently, like to different projects. So a recommendation would be to have to work a strong case with one of them, especially depending on the stage you're applying for. But
we believe we are more in stage 2.
What is important here is like the previous question, is that we consider the same asset, even those developments and results that are kind of dependent on a previous patent and on a previous development. So if they have like some kind of relationship with the two assets, then they are considered the same asset, and you can apply only once with that. But if they are totally independent, even if the indication is the same, then you can differentiate them into different projects. Okay, and then you can make a strong case with one of them and try to apply to the stage that you think it fits better for your development. Okay, of course, if you're applying at the same time with the two assets into different projects, if you are the project leader, you will be only eligible for one of them. So it will be like
we need two different
project to another person to lead the project.
Thank you.
Alex, if I can add something just to clarify, I mean, if you are thinking that the final product will include the sensors and the software, then probably you can select one asset in your proposal. If the software or the sensor can work independently as a product in the final market, you can consider to have separated proposals.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lionel. So we move to Miquel Duran. Miquel.
Good morning. Thanks for very clear explanation and also very clear answers to the questions. So we are building a research software, which is and will always be open source. And on top of that, we don't plan, this software is going to be charitable. So we don't plan to make revenue. Does it make us non-eligible?
No, indeed, what we are asking here is to have a plan to make it sustainable. This is an important issue because at the end, what we need to understand, what the program is looking for, a project that can have an impact on the final patient or in the health in general. So it has to be a clear path from the point you are now to the final product or solution. So if you can identify a way where you will get the funding and the support that is required for getting through this development to the final solution, your proposal is eligible. So for that reason, we have this business case impact, social impact at the end, because it happens with some of the projects, and it's important that you strengthen how are you getting the funding and how are you protecting the final solution to be copied if you don't want to be copied, and if you want to be copied, how it makes it sustainable to reach the final population if your solution goes to final population.
Thanks, Jordi, very clear.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you. And next one, Carmen Almanza. Carmen.
Hello again. I'm
Hello.
sorry, but Monica was going to ask a question and she was on kickoff of the meeting. We had a question regarding the regulatory roadmap. Is it expected to last until the market, or is it expected to be restricted to the 2-year period of the grant. So do you expect us to design a regulatory roadmap?
Yeah.
So
it's not a goal in the program that you end up with the roadmap. It's one of the goals that you can have once you are participating, and when you're completing the form, you have that question about the regulatory roadmap.
Yeah.
The only thing we ask for is that at least we know that you have been working on that and you have you have done some research and you have the proper information, so that if you access the program, you have all the tools to start working on that. And we don't have a specific limit or a specific goal or objective in the time frame, but at least that we know that you have the proper information and knowledge to work on that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And another final one, the external versus internal equilibria of the proposal. I mean, if we have to do many external studies because we don't have the technology or the appropriate means in-house, is this okay? Or are you expecting us to dedicate also, so which is the usual proportion between those?
We have been supporting many different types of projects.
Okay.
So there are some that a high percentage of the grant goes for outsourcing services outside the institution, the nonprofit institution that is beneficiary or hosted the grant. And that's totally fine. And there are institutions that are more on the experimental side of the project and they perform everything in-house and they use most of the grant for those specific activities in-house.
Okay.
And everything is accepted and we're very flexible with that as long as it makes sense. As long as we see that will lead you to reach those specific results that we need for the project to advance and to achieve like a proper milestones and even to advance using this internal pipeline in the program.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So thank you, Carmen. This was the last question, the last raised hand that we have. I don't know if any other. Okay, so now we have Marisa Silva. So Marisa, please go ahead.
Good morning. I had already raised my hand, but somehow the system didn't register. So this is my first time applying. I had a specific question regarding a digital health section. So we were trying to build an education tool to increase health literacy and health education in a specific field. So my question is this applicable in the digital health part of the call or not?
So I understand that the question is about the scientific field you are addressing. So I understand that this is a digital solution
Yes.
trying to improve the health in
it
children.
Would be a digital pack, yes.
Yeah. So I see that it is addressing a health situation. So it's more in the prevention, I understand, but it's difficult to assess that. And it would be eligible as you can check the list of the different situations. But when it's a digital tool improving health, so it would be eligible as far as I understand now. So it's difficult to assess that with this information. But I see that this is a health solution based on digital technology.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marisa. Almudena González.
Hello?
Hello.
Hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for this session. It's been very useful, almost for me. We are planning a project at stage 1 with another Spanish institution. And our idea is to develop the project together and afterwards to share also the property of the results. In this case, should we apply as a consortium, I suppose? But what should be the criteria for selecting the leader institution?
So for you mean the leading institution, you mean the beneficiary institution, the institution that will be applying?
So
Yes?
you
Okay.
mean that the money will go only to the leader institution?
That's right. That's right. It will go to one institution, and the institution will be responsible to distributing the grant among the different partners of the consortium. In that case, we recommend that the institution that is the beneficiary one be the one where most of the activities will be performed. So it doesn't need to be the one with the highest percentage of ownership of the asset. That's not a requirement, but at least that most of the work project, that the facilities and the development of the project is where it's developed. Of course, if you have some future or prospective co-owners of the asset that may be involved in the project, you can include them as partners, but they have to be non-profit institutions as well, and they have to at least receive some money, some financing from the grant that your institution or your leading institution is receiving. If you have a partner who is involved but is not receiving money, or you're not planning on distributing money to that specific entity, then that researcher or that collaborator can be included as team member. Okay, but for the leading institution, so the percentage of ownership it's of course it's mandatory, but there's not a specific limit or a minimum amount of ownership that you must have to be leading institution. So as long as you have like most of the activities performed in the framework of your entity, that should be the one to be included as a host or leading institution.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Almudena. And Daniele Lezzi.
Hi, everyone. About the spin-off in stage 2, I understand that, of course, it cannot be part of the proposal unless they are third-party associated, right? But if we have a plan to fund the spin-off with our center, should this be clearly defined in the implementation and also in the budget, part of the creation of the spin-off, or not?
If there's something that you have already decided, it makes sense in your development plan. It's something that you can include in the proposal. So it's normally it's part of the business case. You can be planning to license the product at certain point or to create a spin-off, and it's something that is normally performed. The only point about this spin-off is the eligibility thing that we have already commented, so that you have not created it before the application. But if you think that this plan is something that is important for the development of your project, obviously you can include it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Daniele. So I think he was the last one, so I don't have more raised hands. So if this is true, I think that we can leave it here because in the chat, I think that all questions were already answered. So thank you guys for all these answers. And you, for sure, if you want to ask more questions, you can contact us as this email that I have just put in the chat. So I think that I can. Okay, so we have one more hand. So let's make it the last one. So Thais Castro, please. We can hear you. Yeah.
Hello, thank you. Good
Hello.
morning.
Good morning.
We have a technology that a company developed. So we are wondering if this company, we would adapt this technology for other purpose, and we would, this company can be the co-owner of the asset until they are okay if that the institution would be 50% of the asset.
Yeah, actually, so the institution has to have more than 50% of ownership, so it's more than 50%. And then if that for-profit entity, that company owns that smaller percentage of ownership of the asset, can be co-owner of the asset, and it has to be stated on the proposal. And the only thing is that cannot be a partner of the proposal or cannot receive direct financing from the grant. But as long as it's stated in the application form, that's totally fine and eligible.
Okay, so the company could have more than 50%.
The company should have less than 50%.
Less than 50.
Your
Okay,
institution,
okay.
the non-profit institutions, all the co-owners that are non-profit institutions, they must have more than 50% of ownership. So the company should have less than 50% to be for the project to be eligible in the call.
Okay, I understand now. Now it's clear. Thank you so much.
No problem. You're welcome.
So thank you, Thais. And with this question, we close the question and answer session. So as I was saying before, if you have further questions, you can write it to our email that I have just put in the chat. So thank you very much for your interest in our program and for attending this presentation. And yes, we hope to see your applications. I don't know if Jordi and Alex want to add anything more. So with
Thank you
this,
so
we
much.
finish here. Thank you. Thank you very much, you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.